How are you doing? Sorry, I'm just getting my stuff together for one of my literal, like, amazing patients. And for those of you that don't know, this is Dr. Murphy with a Longevity Insider with Dr. Murphy, which is me. I've got a ton of doctors on here, and it's so fantastic, honestly, to see all of you this morning because I've only got a few minutes, actually about 13 minutes, before I see one of my amazing transformation stories. This is an amazing tech entrepreneur and venture capitalist who, despite having, you know, all the money in the world, 100-foot yacht, he was obese, he was overweight, and he had some maladaptive strategies for his stress. We converted those, and in about a year and a half, he went down to 10% body fat and reversed his aging. How did he do that? Well, he used some well-timed peptides, most notably the GLP-1s. He was on hormone therapy and he still couldn't lose the weight. That was because even though his testosterone was super physiologic a little bit, oh, wow, look, it says my internet is unstable. So I'm going to put on my Wi-Fi here and get back to you guys. So this patient is an amazing guy and a testament to having the time and the work to put in the effort. It's not just magic. You just don't take a whole bunch of peptides and you get better. You actually have to exercise. And there was a hot debate in our longevity group. Oh, I'll put people on Clotho and then we won't ever have to exercise again. Nothing could be further from the truth. Again, peptides are not going to solve your exercise need. And in fact, if you use the wrong peptides, you're going to end up in a world of hurt. And I think it's very important to say, and that's why in my lead today, not all mitochondrial peptides are for you, and not all mitochondrial peptides should be taken at once. You have to have a strategy with these peptides. I want to explain the big ones, right? The big ones here about mitochondrial peptides are the following: SS31, MOTs-C, St. Louis University PP332, right? SLUP 332 are the big ones. There's some other ones involved with mitochondria, but I think those are the big peptides. In addition to that, you have all this exercise about methylene blue that people are very excited because it skips over electron transport chain, creating a more accelerated electron transfer, which I'm not sold is exactly what people need, especially if your mitochondria are broken. So first, let's think about fixing your mitochondria. And the way that we do that is we run a mito swab test. So I can look at an acylcarnitine profile and it will tell me if you have fatty acid oxidation issues. Why? Because I learned that in fellowship. Most traditional longevity doctors, biohacking doctors, internists, or functional medicine doctors have some shortcomings here because they're not fellowship trained in interpreting biochemical genetics. That's fine. A lot of them can learn and do really well. So SS31 actually is FDA approved, and what it does is it actually is it's a novel design that creates a stabilization in your cardiolipin, which really restores the integrity of complex 2, 3, and 4. And so this tech entrepreneur had an issue in complex 2, 3, and it was drastic. And so we had to fix that. And so what do we use? SS31. SS31 reduces oxidative stress. SS31 improves electron transport, and it binds cardiolipin. So you get an increased electron flux, you get an increased ATP. Yeah, yes, Aggie, Dr. Hewitt. You can take SS31 twice daily. And in fact, the dose that biohackers are using, 1 to 5 milligrams, is way lower than the dose used by the FDA in the children with Barr syndrome, those 40 milligrams. In addition to this, as you begin to improve the mitochondria, you reduce reactive oxygen species. Most people don't realize, but as you accelerate mitochondria, you increase oxidative stress. This is why burning glucose as a fuel is less efficient than burning um, fat. And this is why ketogenesis is important. It's why using acylcarnitine profiles to see if you can beta fatty acid oxidate, so beta oxidation, whether it works. And so you're going to make sure it works. So you got to test it before you start throwing in a bunch of carnitine or trying to go ketogenic, you may not feel well. That could be because you can't fatty acid oxidize well. And so that'll need to be fixed. And that's important. So that's what SS31 does. Next, the next thing that this tech entrepreneur wanted to do was dump on MOTs-C, dump on SLU-PP332. What you need to understand about SLU-PP332 is that it is an estrogen-related receptor accelerant. So it accelerates mitochondrial gene expression. It is like an exercise booster. So it controls a little bit of OXPHOS gene transcription. It will accelerate mitochondrial function. And so if you cannot handle accelerated mitochondrial function because you have beta oxidation issues, or if you have issues handling in your electron transport chain, SLU-PP332 is not for you. The next is MOTs-C. So MOTs-C is a mitochondrial-coated peptide that activates AMPK. So activating AMPK, activating PGC1 alpha expression increases mitochondrial biogenesis. That's great. But it also accelerates, it also increases fatty acid oxidation. So if your acylcarnitine profile is not correct, then MOTs-C is not for you. You have to fix fatty acid oxidation. How? You have to check your total and free carnitine levels and boost those levels. Now, people will freak out about taking carnitine because it may increase your TMAO, trimethylamine oxide, and that could theoretically increase your risk for cardiovascular disease and disrupted atherosclerotic plaques. As you can tell, even if you're a biohacker, you need a Sherpa to guide you up the mountain. Okay, what is one little strategy here? If your mitochondrial function is not optimized, well, you could consider using things like GH fragment 176191, which is AOD 9604, or using additional other growth hormone optimizing strategies. In fact, what I see in a lot of people with mitochondrial dysfunction is that they have low growth hormone. It's not working well. And one of the things about AOD 9604 is it actually helps beta oxidation. Yes, growth hormone helps your mitochondria beta oxidize. And so this is independent of its growth hormone receptor activity, GHRH. So thinking about SERM, thinking about tesamorelin, thinking about ipamorelin with CJC, those things all help your mitochondria. So when you're rebuilding mitochondria to go, 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 you want to consider looking at your growth hormone and your IGF-1 to optimize it first. And so that's what we're doing with this patient. Very important, and you need to know this. Not all mitochondrial peptides should be used at once. Not all mitochondrial peptides are for you. And if your fatty acid oxidation is off, you should not be taking mitochondrial peptides that increase your fat oxidation. MOTs-C is not for you if your acylcarnitine profile is off. MOTs-C is not for you if your electron transport chain is off. Fix your electron transport chain and your mitochondria first, then go to the races. All right, this is Dr. Murphy with Longevity Insider with Dr. Murphy. That's me, and I look forward to our next talk with you. Here's to a life well lived.